Dharma Bites is brought to you by Free Buddhist Audio, the Dharma for your life. Our work is funded entirely by donations from our generous listeners. If you would like to help us keep this free, make a contribution at freebuddhistaudio.com/donate. Thank you, and happy listening.
Now for our third major topic, which is right understanding itself, or rather, perfect vision itself. In Buddhist literature, there are many expositions of right understanding or perfect vision. One might even go so far as to say there are perhaps too many expositions. And if one is not very careful, some at least of these expositions, as our chairman hinted a little earlier on, can lead to misunderstanding, or at least they're not very helpful. Some Buddhist writers, one finds, when they come in the course of their exposition of Buddhism, especially exposition of the Four Truths and the Noble Eightfold Path, try to include, if not to cram in at this point, the whole of Buddhist doctrine. It's as though when they came to right understanding, they rubbed their hands as if to say, well, what I couldn't get in anywhere else, I can push it in here, because it's all a matter of right understanding. It's all something to be understood. So in everything goes the whole doctrine, the whole teaching, the whole philosophy, as it were. So this tends to create the wrong impression. And people often think, I've found, students of Buddhism often think that right understanding means, or right understanding as the first step of the path means, making a thorough study of the whole of Buddhist thought, including history of Buddhist thought, and taking a sort of PhD in Buddhist philosophy. They think that this is right understanding, the first step of the Noble Eightfold Path. So the first thing you have to do before you can hope to be a Buddhist, before you can start walking on that Noble Eightfold Path, is to get down to it and learn all about the Madhyamikas and the Yogacharyas and the Abhidharmikas and the Sarvastivadins and the Tiendai school and the Avatangsaka school and all the rest of it, and then you may put your foot on the path and start practicing Buddhism. Some think like this, unfortunately, but really it isn't at all like that. One must repeat, one must emphasize that Samyak Drishti is just perfect vision. Perfect vision. Nothing to do with study of the schools of Buddhist philosophy. And this vision is something quite simple, quite direct, immediate, and more of the nature of a spiritual experience than of the nature of intellectual understanding. Of course, the experience, the insight, can be expressed intellectually in terms of doctrinal concepts, philosophical systems, and so on, but it is not identical with these. The vision itself stands apart, stands above. So what is this perfect vision? I've said it's a vision of the nature of existence, but then again the question arises, what is the nature of existence? This is very difficult to say. It's difficult to say because it's only too easy to say. I'm not being paradoxical. What I mean is, it's as though too many concepts lay ready to hand. One can say, oh yes, it's this, it's that. There's so much Buddhist philosophy available to us. We can slap on a few terms, concepts, refer to this system and that system and say, well, there's the nature of existence according to Buddhism. But it's too slick, as it were, too easy. And we must beware, we must resist this temptation of producing our concepts too readily and saying that the nature of existence is like this or like that. After all, what one wants to communicate or try to communicate is not a set of ideas, is not a system of philosophy, is what the Buddha himself called, in his own language, quite unambiguously, a drishti, a vision. Not a thought, not an idea, but a vision. It is that which one is trying to communicate, not just expound ideas.
We hope you enjoyed today's Dharma Bite. Please help us keep this free. Make a contribution at freebuddhistaudio.com/donate. And thank you.